crazy. And I know it can feel that way because people are just going about their lives as normal as our country descends into full-face fascism, but you're not. What you're experiencing right now is something called hyper-normalization. This is a term coined by Alexei Yurchak, an anthropology professor in Leningrad, who was writing about what it felt like to live through the fall of the Soviet Union. And I bet this will sound pretty familiar to you. What he said was that in the 80s, everyone from the top of Soviet society to the bottom knew that the system wasn't working. They knew that it was corrupt. They knew that the bosses were looting the system, and they knew that the politicians had no alternative vision, and that the politicians were also looting the system. And they knew that the bosses knew that they knew that. Everyone knew that this wasn't working. But because no one had an alternative vision for a different kind of society, they just kind of accepted all of this as normal. They literally hyper-normalized behavior and events that are not normal at all. And that's exactly what's happening right now. But let me be clear, none of what we're seeing right now is or should be normal. Having the richest man on earth do 2 Nazi salutes in a row is not normal, and it shouldn't be. Having the most powerful billionaires sitting front row center at the inauguration is not normal. In fact, that's the exact definition of fascism as Mussolini and Giovanni Gentile, the philosopher of fascism, had described, which is that fascism is better described as corporatism because it's the merging of the government and the private sector. And over the next few years, there's going to be a lot of distractions and gaslighting. We have to understand that billionaires now control almost all of our media, including our social media, and they will absolutely be censoring or suppressing anything that they don't like. That's literally them trying to control our perception of reality by controlling the information that we get to receive. And all of that is to make us feel more alone, to make us feel like we're losing our mind, and critically, to make us feel more afraid. Because when people feel that way, they're much more likely to support authoritarian leadership, or at least do nothing to stop it. And that's the thing about fascism. It's not always a sudden burst of violence, even though it can be. More often, it's a constant crushing push into complacency. Their goal is to flood us and overstimulate us and keep us on edge at all times, reacting to one horrible thing or another. And meanwhile, they're passing all the legislation that we should be organizing to stop. The only way that we can combat this is by coming together as a community in ways that we've never done before. The institutions around us will start to break down as this country is looted by the billionaires, and we will need to keep each other safe. We're going to have to constantly remind each other of what is the truth. And critically, we have to help each other imagine what a new system could look like. More specifically, that involves getting to know your neighbors, starting to grow your own food, participating in mutual aid networks. Only through community and building systems away from the state can we start to imagine what an alternative could look like. And that's super important to all of this, because if we want to build a better world, we not only have to know what we're destroying, but also what we're going to build instead. It's up to all of us to contribute to that collective conversation. If you want to learn more about building community and how to resist fascist takeovers, then check out theconsciouscitizens.org, which is an online community where we're sharing education and resources for collective liberation.